I want to ask you a bunch of questions about your career, and
Yeah.
it all ties in.
All right. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay, yay! So we're here for another episode, and we have Brittany with us today.
Hi.
Yay! So go ahead and do like a little introduction of yourself.
Well, my name's Brittany, and I'm from Naples, Florida originally, but I live in Vegas now.
Yay!
Yay.
And maybe possibly moving one day too.
I'm thinking to move. I'm thinking about moving here. I am.
Yeah.
I actually met her like when we were doing modeling together.
Yes, amazing. We love that.
Yes.
We met out here, right?
Yeah, we met out here. You told me. She
Yeah.
told me the story about the drone. Like it's,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
Oh my god.
Oh, I hate that story. Did you see the video?
No.
Oh, girl, it was so like, I was trying so hard to be nice, but I was so pissed. Like, it was terrible. And
Like
like,
hair looks good still.
thank
so.
you. Yeah, I
Yeah, she
appreciate
didn't,
that.
like,
I
you
know.
didn't
They had to
ruin it.
cut some of it out of the drone. It was awful.
I would have made him pay for my haircut.
I should
I'm sorry.
have.
Pay
You're
for my haircut,
right.
you know?
I blocked that out.
I would have made him pay for my haircut.
I'm gonna remember that for next
I would have
time.
been like, you, sir.
Yeah, I think when we did that shoot, I'm not even sure if I lived here then. I might have been living in Miami still. But have you ever lived here in Hollywood?
I lived here actually pre-COVID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I lived here pre-COVID, and then yeah.
Oh, fun. And then you moved to Vegas.
Yes.
Okay, nice. How do you like? Well, okay. Before I jump into that, so how long have you been modeling for?
So I've been modeling for probably like 14 years. Like since I was like, I've been doing it since I was like 12 years old.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So your parents got you into it.
Yeah, my parents got me into
Oh my gosh,
it.
wild.
Yeah.
Was it like as a kid, was it like fun and exciting, or was it like work? Like,
My mother was a stage mom. She was one of those moms where you saw the kid crying backstage and you wondered why she was crying, and it's because I couldn't have pizza.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, she was a stage mom.
Oh, that's rough. Can't have pizza as a kid. I mean, I guess pizza's not the healthiest thing, but
it's not. You
Yeah.
know? But I'm like, she's like, you gotta go walk the runway. I was like, I don't want to
Oh
walk the
my
runway. I want to just have
gosh.
pizza right now.
Oh no.
And I'm like, and what are they making me wear? This thing's ugly.
Yeah.
I was like, I insulted the designer basically,
Oh
and I
my
was like 12. I was like, your outfit is ugly.
Oh no. Oh my god. Did you do dance as a kid too?
I did dance.
Okay,
Yeah.
so she was a real stage mom.
Yeah, I did dance. I did jazz, ballet, tap, you name it, hip
Okay,
hop.
the full shebang.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you did modeling, you did dancing, you're doing acting now.
And I was in musical theater.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sing also.
I sing a little.
Oh,
You know?
I can't sing for the life of me. I wish.
Everyone can sing. It's a muscle. You just gotta take singing classes. You
Yeah,
can.
you're probably that. Yeah, that at one point I have to do some
Yeah, do
singing
singing
lessons,
classes,
see
you
what's
know?
in there, try and pull something out.
Yeah, just pull it out. You get it out. You can teach you.
I get such bad stage fright though. Do you ever, like, with all the things you do, is there anything that you get stage fright for?
At first when I'm going up, but I kind of just pretend that nobody's in the room and I'm in the room by myself.
Okay, that makes
And,
sense.
Yeah, and I just block them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I can, like, I'm a burlesque dancer, so I can be like totally like practically naked and be like, whatever.
Yeah.
But singing, I'm like,
Yeah, you gotta kind of like block these people out.
Yeah,
You know?
we were just talking in the last episode actually how, like, when I perform, I black out. Do you get that ever where you just like?
I do, like especially with acting, like when because
Oh.
you're portraying a character and you're thinking the character's thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So with acting, like I just like blank, and it sucks because like in acting class they asked me, they're like, how'd you do that? Like how'd you go from one emotion to the next? And I'm like, I really don't know. I guess I played off off a past experience and pictured myself in that past experience
Wow.
that like I dealt with in the past and used basically my emotions and stuff and put it into it. But I really don't know how I turned it on and off. You know, I just kind of got lost in it.
Wow, that's pretty cool actually.
Yeah.
So you're pulling from a lot of like your past when you're acting?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, like I had a lot of trauma and stuff growing up, so like I like use that like as part of my mental health and stuff to like
Wow.
escape. So
Like your therapy almost.
yeah, it's like my therapy, like, you know.
That makes sense. When I became a burlesque dancer, it was after a lot, like immediately after a lot of trauma. And it kind of saved my life, honestly.
It does. It does save your life because
Yeah.
it kind of like makes you express yourself in ways you didn't know
Yeah.
you had.
Exactly. It's almost like there's these things like you can't really use words at first to like explain what you went through. So it's almost like becoming somebody else, even though it's still you, helps you get that out somehow.
Well, like I feel like every actress and person, like everyone in entertainment, they've had some sort of trauma
Right.
in
Yeah.
one point of their life, and like it basically helps you get it out. Like entertainment, like I feel like is a way because you're basically getting in your zone and you're
Mm,
using everything you've been through and like pushing. Like if you look at past artists and stuff, a lot of these people that write stuff, like they've been through things and they write it based on their lives and things
yeah.
they've been through.
So true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what makes artists like so powerful almost too is they can relate to people because they've been through a lot of times like the worst of the worst. And like if you've gone all the way that down, you can definitely hit somebody on the way back up and like
It's crazy.
impact
It's
them. It's
crazy.
wild. Yeah.
It's insane. Like you can definitely like Marilyn Monroe, she had one of the most troubled pasts.
Right. Insane.
Yeah, and
Insane.
she put it all in her acting.
Yeah, yeah. She's a huge idol of mine, like Marilyn Monroe,
Oh, I
Pamela
love
Anderson. Yeah.
Marilyn. And
I
she
could see
started
that.
off as a model too. That was the crazy part. And
Yes,
she like,
seriously.
yeah,
It's crazy because like modeling really does open so many doors.
it does. It
And
does.
it's just such a great like navigator to get into like the world of acting or even the world of live performance and everything. It's really cool.
It does. It does.
So you're on your road now to transitioning to acting, right?
Yes. So I'm trying to get out of that like modeling typecasting thing.
For sure.
And I want to do like actual like serious acting. Like I don't want to do reality TV and stuff because that is a form of
Yeah.
acting.
Yeah, yeah, it is
But I want to
definitely.
do more serious roles. So I'm
Yeah,
trying to basically transition and get like from like sex symbol to just,
definitely. Yeah, which I feel it's a hard transition
I
to
feel like it is
make.
because you don't want to be that horror girl in the
Yeah.
movie that always
Yeah.
dies. Like you don't want to be in a horror film.
Exactly.
Like I don't want to be a
Yeah.
scream queen. I want to be like, an Angelina
Definitely.
Jolie like on the
Yeah,
screen.
for sure, for sure. Are you like a very like dramatic actor or are you like what comedy, rom-com, like what's your
I like a mix. Like I like
okay.
comedy, but I think my favorite thing to play because it's psychological is basically I like to play the like I want to play like the killer in like a scary movie. Like
Really?
I want to play like the
Oh,
Harley
okay.
Quinn. Like I want to do like
Oh, I
Jared
love
Leto, like
that.
Margot Robbie roles, like things like
Okay. Yeah.
that. That's like my favorite to play is
Oh
like the
my
psychopath. Like
god. I
I think it's
love it.
interesting.
Oh my
I
gosh,
think it's so
amazing.
interesting to me. Call me crazy, but I think it's like interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Where do you like go in your mind when you go into like especially a darker role like that where it's like, like serial killer, maybe like a little comedic, but like do you have anything like specific that you pull from or some kind of even like persona that you like pull from?
Um, so basically, I think it's like we have this whole thing where like with trauma stuff like oh the people have done me wrong or revenge like BS and BS and all that stuff about
Mm,
revenge and stuff like that and
okay,
being
yeah.
like upset and I kind of like just pull and through like all my emotions all my anger and I kind of
Oh,
just put myself like in I read off the character in the
okay.
script and
Yeah.
what they want me to do with the script and
Mm.
what the character's feeling and I kind of just go from there like a time like and I'm able to pull from it. Like if I want to cry, like I pull from like basically anybody I've lost. Like I
Oh,
basically
okay.
remember what it was like losing them and remember a time. Or if I'm like, I mean, I don't know what it's like to kill someone. Like it's horrible,
Oh god.
but like basically I pretend that someone did someone that I loved wrong and I wanted like revenge. Like it's you have to
Smart.
know which emotion to pull from and you kind of
Yeah.
just use that as your tool to
Mm,
basically make the character come to life.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I never would have thought about how to put your mind into the
Yeah,
mind of a
because
serial killer.
they say like basically like you have to with method acting, which that's complete BS because method acting actually utilizing every tool in acting. It's not a
Mm,
specific acting like
Yeah.
That's just, people acting bad when they go out and they try, like, they're like, oh, I'm gonna do a role and I'm gonna play like a drug addict. I'm gonna go try drugs. Like, no, no. You're not. If you were playing a serial killer, you're not gonna go kill a bunch of
Yeah,
people. So
yeah,
don't go
for
try
real.
drugs.
Oh my
You have
gosh.
to get a similar
Oh, that's
experience
crazy.
that can be as close as the experience that this character's having and pull from
Yeah,
it.
definitely. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I feel like when I do
Yeah.
burlesque, I always have like a different persona I switch into in my head. But it's interesting because like I go into this place where like I think about kind of all the people who did me wrong and tried to suppress me and push me down and like keep me this like submissive little girl. And like I think about just like overcoming that, like the woman who finally said no, and the woman who's in charge now, the woman who like takes over. And I think that's what's so powerful about things like modeling and burlesque is that a lot of times you have women who weren't allowed to express themselves and they just finally found their power, and which is why it's so crazy to me. Like I've had so many guys say they can't date me because I do burlesque dancing.
That's crazy.
It's
Because they're
crazy.
insecure. I feel like men
So
are so
insecure.
insecure.
It's insane.
And I
Yeah.
feel like you have to like find someone that matches you because men are so
Yes.
insecure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's why, because it's like burlesque is not like stripping. Like
It's really not. It's
it's
classy.
it's so classy. You're not like sitting on people's laps. You're not like going to back. It's not personal. It's like it's an art form and it's very classy and like very glamorous. And as soon as you're done, you're going backstage. Like you're not like having people touch you or anything. So it's always like wild to me how it's like such a like hard like
They can't
no.
date you because you do burlesque. They're
It's
insecure.
crazy.
These men are so insecure.
So insecure. And I feel like too a lot of it is I think a lot of men like a woman they can control, you know.
No, and it's crazy. Like they want someone that's gonna be stay-at-home housewife.
Yes.
Like
Not working, not making her own money.
I had that happen to me. I was actually married to a guy,
Oh, I
and he
didn't
wanted
know.
me to give up everything,
Oh
delete social
shit.
media, give up modeling, give up everything.
Wow.
And at the end of the day, I'm like, but if you leave me, I have nothing. I have to
Yes.
start over.
Which is so scary.
So what do you want me to do?
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy because they don't care.
No, and they don't care. And like,
Yeah.
basically, I had a friend that I thought, because I feel like in the industry, I don't know if you have this problem, so hard to make like girlfriends. Like everyone
Yeah.
wants to
Yeah,
see you
yeah,
do
yeah.
good, but no one wants to see you do better than them. And I'm like, I want all
Yeah.
my friends to succeed. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Like, you know?
Mhm.
And when I was asking you earlier about the podcast, like you were like helpful and stuff with me, and that's
Yeah.
good. Like it's hard to make girlfriends because I had this girl and she was like my best friends did everything for, and basically, it didn't help. Like she's supposed to have my back and stuff, and
Yeah.
she's over here telling my husband like, oh, she's probably cheating on you, she's probably doing this, she's probably
Your
doing that.
best friend was telling your husband?
Yeah, and
Oh
he took
no.
off and left a day before the wedding. Like I got left at the altar.
No. Oh my god. I feel like
Yeah.
maybe you told me the story actually.
Oh yeah, it was like the worst. So I was
Oh no.
traumatized.
Oh no. Oh, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
like to the point where I almost gave up modeling until I had this
Wow.
friend that dragged me out to Vegas.
Mm.
And she told me, she's like, you're going to a Maxim party, blah blah blah. It's nothing big.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I was like, okay, I'd already been in Maxim Australia. I was like, whatever.
Mm.
So I walk in and I'm just like wearing like casual things. I'm thinking it's a daytime party. So I'm wearing like my white shorts and this little like turtleneck, very classy. It's an audition.
Oh my god.
She tricked me.
Oh my god.
So I walk in, I smile, I pose,
Uh-huh.
and I make the audition.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so a lot of girls were upset they didn't make because they only picked like 6 girls. I made the audition. I was
Oh
like,
my
what did I just
gosh.
do? And what just happened here?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna get back into modeling. I'm gonna get back into entertainment because I
Yeah.
was in a dark hole after that happened.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
I hope
sure.
no woman ever has to go through that. And
Mm.
it was a dark hole. And I think I was like, maybe if I was stay at home, maybe if I would have quit everything. And then it's like,
Yeah, no.
but he could have left me eventually.
Yeah, and then you would have had nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And I would have wasted all my years.
Yeah,
And by
and you
then it would
wouldn't
have
have
been
been
too late.
happy. Like,
Yeah.
I think like I still would love to have a family one day, but even if so, I would still want to work on many levels, honestly, but it's very possible to still have some kind of side projects, have your side hustles, have a career as a
Yeah.
mom. I think we had a girl come on here. I work with her and she tours and she has 2 kids and her husband are no longer together. And even when they were together, she was the breadwinner. And she does commercials and like is a dancer and does all these things and takes care of her kids. She
That's
runs the whole
good. Like,
family.
that's
Yeah.
good.
It's crazy, but it's great and she's a great
She
mom.
has a nanny too to help her, I hope.
I don't think she does.
No?
No. No, I think it's just because, her and her husband were together, or boyfriend, I don't remember, but he would watch the kids because he didn't work. So he would watch the kids, she'd go do the job and come back. And like, I guess he's a good dad, but he didn't work. So I think the ideal thing though is if you have a man and a woman.
Like a power couple.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to definitely have a power
Yeah,
couple and
exactly.
put your all into it with that.
Yeah, and just communicate, have good scheduling, maybe have a nanny, have a babysitter, have some help. But, this idea, and she actually, we were talking on the podcast about her being a mom, and she said being a mom helped my career and vice versa because she was like, well, now I got to take care of these kids, so I have to work harder than I was before. And she did. And then her career did amazing, and her kids are doing great. And it's like, you know, the only sad thing is the man didn't do anything, So
I mean, that would be hard for me. Like, I
that
have to
would
have
be
the
rough.
man do something
Yeah,
at least,
definitely.
but I don't. Some of these super like, I don't need a man to totally support me. I don't need a like super rich guy. Like, I need a man that's gonna work with me and let me be myself.
Yeah,
And
totally.
like when you met me, I was with a photographer. And he like let me be myself, and like I ended up, reconnecting with Mix, and he like lets me be myself, like my new guy. He like
That's
lets me
really
be
good.
myself, and that's
Yeah.
good for me. Like,
I feel like that's so important. Like,
yeah.
I don't know about you, but I know a lot of men assume for me that I want like just some rich man to take care of me forever.
No, they do. With all dancers, they assume that absolutely
Yeah.
because you're a burlesque dancer.
Yeah,
They assume
they think
that
I'm
you
a
want
gold
some.
digger.
They
Like,
yeah. But look at Dita Von Teese, the most famous burlesque dancer.
yeah,
Look how rich she is.
exactly. It's
She's
like,
got her own lingerie line.
yeah.
Like, I think you'd be good doing your own lingerie line.
Thanks,
You're
girl.
good.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a thought. We have something in the works.
Okay.
It's connected with the podcast, so I'll let you know when that comes out. We're
That
still in
sounds
the
amazing.
beginning
Like, I could see you
phases.
doing your own lingerie line.
It's a thought.
Bring
for
back
sure.
the Fredericks corsets.
Ooh.
Bring those back.
Noted. I'll lock that in
Yeah,
here.
bring back.
Yeah.
The old burlesque corsets. Bring them back.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I have to show you. I'm working on one right now. So cute. Love it.
Yeah, it would be like the early 2010s when people used to wear the corsets out to the club.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Add a little class and stuff.
Right? With like the jeans and stuff.
Yeah,
Very LA, very cute.
seriously. I love like adding little pieces of my burlesque stuff to my like going out outfits.
No, but that's cute.
And it's different. It pops and it stands out, and I'm a big fan.
See, I like that.
Right?
Do you thrift?
I don't actually.
Yeah,
I'm
thrifting.
not.
I love thrifting.
Really?
My boyfriend here introduced me to thrifting. I was like,
Oh, how
thrifting.
funny.
He's like, a lot of people thrift. It's cool. And so I was like, okay. So I went thrifting, and I'm like,
oh my
I like this. So
gosh.
I was like, I dig this outfit. I was like,
That's
I'll wear
so
it.
funny.
I-
I can't get past like being in clothes that somebody else has worn.
I get it. It's the energy, but I
Freaks me
sage it
out.
first.
Oh,
I sage it and then I wear it before it gets in my house. I gotta
Interesting.
sage it.
Yeah. It's the thing I can't get past.
I know.
So I'll just get like things and then add pieces to it and stuff and like spice it up a little.
That's true. You can make
So,
anything like look older and stuff like that.
yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, like Dita Von Teese, a lot of these women like they make their own money. And I feel like dating a man for money is not, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Like, if you have your own money, then you're good.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do when you get divorced? You're not gonna get much.
Just be broke all of a sudden, or like, just whatever he passed down to you and now you got to get married again or whatever. It's like, but I like
Yeah.
what you said. And that's what I look for too, is being with a man who lets you be yourself. Like, and appreciates and enjoys. Like, I want to be like, you should be so proud if you won me. Like, you should look at me on stage and be like, that's my woman, or like look at the photos of me and be like, that's my girl, instead of like, oh no, you have to cover yourself up, or you're not going to be a good mother to my children because you have a positive body image. Like, what?
See, I noticed that. It's so crazy. It's
It's
like,
insane.
but you met me doing this, so why?
Exactly.
Why are you upset about it?
This
And
was
like
literally the thing that like made you fall in
for
love with
so
me.
long, I thought something was wrong with me and stuff like that.
Right? It's crazy.
Like my ex-husband and my ex-best friend, they called me a glorified prostitute, or I
Oh
can't say it, a
my
glorified,
god.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
But I get it. Like, I would get comments like that. I used to be married also.
Okay,
And
that's insane.
yeah.
I didn't know this about you till
I
you're
know.
married.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I thought it was just me. I was like getting called a glorified. I was like, glorified. I was like, what are they talking about? A
Oh
glorified
my
escort?
god. Yeah,
Nice.
right? It's crazy. Yeah, when I was getting divorced, I used to be super Christian. And so ladies.
Oh boy, Christian family. My ex's mom was Christian.
Oh
She told her son,
no.
she's seducing you with her body.
Oh my gosh. That sounds right.
Yeah, I know them. I know the
Oh,
Christian people. So he
girl.
was super religious.
He was super religious
Oh my
also.
God.
But when we were getting divorced, I had women from my church from when I was like 6 years old, like women I used to look up to, where they were DMing me and being like, oh, you're just becoming a run of the mill stripper, you're going to hell. And I was like, and I would cry.
And they're supposed to be forgiving, and like people don't see the dark
Exactly.
side of Christianity.
It's
They're like
crazy.
the most ruthless people.
It's insane. I was like, you knew me as a little girl and I'm going through a divorce?
Yeah,
like,
they knew you, and they're older women saying this
exactly.
to a younger woman. Like,
I was
you should be
heartbroken.
helping the younger women. Like,
It's
that's
crazy.
saying that.
Yeah, it was so wild.
No,
So.
I had the same thing. Like, I had,
Really?
yeah, it was like I went through. I think the most emotional part about my divorce was like him and basic working with like my ex before him and getting my son, my 13-year-old.
You have a son?
I have a 13-year-old.
What? Oh
Yeah.
my god, how did
And
I
I love him very much. He watches Mommy Loves You. But
Oh
like,
my
they
gosh.
put things in his head and basically
That's hard.
manipulated him to the point where like, and the court systems when they're 13, there's nothing you can really do.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's rough.
If they don't obey a court order and stuff. And it's like
Oh,
I dealt with, a mother-in-law that would like take me back and forth to court. She was a Christian mother-in-law and
oh
like
my
say that, oh,
gosh.
talk bad about me to my son and accuse me of talking bad, basically being like, oh, you don't look like a Christian, you act like a Christian, and
Oh
basically
wow.
put these things in my son's head like, oh, your mom's this and your mom's that and stuff.
Oh, that's so hard.
And me and him, like, we have spoken, we do talk, but like it's like very like it's hard. Like when
Yeah.
you have a kid, it makes it even worse with the divorce because you have people putting
Oh,
stuff in their head.
yeah.
And it's like, I didn't want to go through the courts and stuff like that anymore. So I was just like, I'm done fighting. When he's 18, he'll come to me. And it was the hardest decision ever to make in my life because,
sure.
if we couldn't make a decision, they're going to put him in foster care. And I didn't want that to happen.
Wow.
Like I was sick of my ex. Like my ex his family was calling DCF on me every day because they had my ex to help them, my ex-husband.
Oh
And
my
it sucks because
gosh.
like my ex that I have now
Mm.
and my ex that I dated right before my ex-husband, they both were sitting in court. I had 3 officers sitting in court, the ones that they called too.
Oh my
Sitting in
gosh.
court basically like she's a good mom, this and that, we found no reports. And the judge was basically, I think he was confused. I don't know what happened, but it was just I had to make the call, and I made the call. I signed everything,
Oh
and at that
no.
point, like I just, I text him, I'll send him gifts and stuff, but like it was very hard on me because
Oh,
like
I'm sure.
I loved him to death, and
Yeah.
like my ex-husband knew that was the one thing that hurt me, and like he went for like the jugular. Why? Because he was
Yeah.
scared that I was going to try to go after his money, which I cared less about.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
And and when he wrote me that nasty text, like I'm thinking he's gonna be like proud of me and stuff like that because I basically worked my butt off like the past like 2 years. And he said basically you left your only son to become a glorified this and like blah blah blah. And I'm like I never left him. I was like, you guys don't even let me see him. I text you. I have the text messages. I text him every time. Like I'm down in Florida. You guys don't even like obey.
Wow.
I'm like if I wanted to be nasty, I could, but I don't believe in that. Like I believe in like
Mm,
basically waiting till the child's old enough to like
make
figure it
their own
out for himself,
decision. Yeah.
because I went that I went through that with a mother, and unfortunately,
Oh.
you know, the courts made it worse because unfortunately, like we were dealing with the back and forth stuff, and it made it
Mm.
worse. And basically, my sister unfortunately took her life because she
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
you know, she was depressed. She wanted to go live my dad because when she was 16, she found out the truth, and you know, she took her life over it. You know,
Wow. Oh my God, I'm so
so
sorry.
it was like very hard. So after seeing that, I'm like, you know, for my son's mental health, I'd rather when he's 18 have him find out the truth. You know.
Mm. Oh, that's rough. That's so hard though.
Yeah, and it's all about money in the court system and all that stuff. And these men with money, they use
Yeah.
their money for
Yeah.
power.
Yeah.
And it's just sad that they use it in that way because
It's
money is like
insane.
evil, you know?
Yeah.
So I had two people with money fighting me, too many people against me, basically. And it's
Yeah.
like, you know, money's evil because, you know, we make good money, but we're not like, we're not like that to
Yeah.
where, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Totally. Like, well, and the thing that's hard too is that for a woman, we're not set up very well to where it's like it's harder for us to
It is
become
harder
millionaires,
because
billionaires,
they're
whatever.
the men. Like, they like make
Yeah.
it hard, you
They
know?
they make it hard. They make it hard. You move your way up in like even in like a normal job, like a 9 to 5, you're still getting harassed. You're still like having to prove yourself constantly. Like I was living on a ship in Australia with the circus, and there was one day when like women captain aren't really supported, and they have this like myth that like it's bad luck to have a woman on ship.
What?
So yeah, so she would get bullied mercilessly. And one time she came on the intercom, and you could totally tell she was crying. You could hear men in the background laughing, like they were bullying her. And she had to speak on the intercom for the whole ship of like, I don't
That is
know, 5,000
horrible.
people on there to listen to her. Awful. So awful. And this is like a respectable woman who knows how to sail a ship, you know? And so it's so crazy how how many obstacles we have to overcome to be successful. And the thing is, we don't think like men. We're not trying to become successful to like have money or to be powerful. I know some men want money to like take care of their family, and that's admirable. But like some men want money for power and success. Majority of women want money to like protect themselves, you know, to protect their kids, to like feel safe.
Well, because you do. You at the end of the day, you know, it's just horrible. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it's the court system and everything has made it like unsafe for women. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's insane. Like we have to really
and all these
protect
like new
ourselves.
rules and stuff like that. Like it's crazy. You know, and I got married in a Republican state, unfortunately.
Oh,
So they
okay.
didn't like protect me as much, you know. Not to
Wow.
bash any parties, you know, because
Yeah,
they're
for
very
sure. We
political.
don't talk
We don't
politics
talk
on here.
politics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, you know, like they don't like, you know, protect the woman.
Yeah,
And
it's
like
really
if
hard.
there's other stories with me, like, you know, women friends I know that basically are amazing mothers, but they deal with the dad, you know.
Yeah,
And I
it's
have
so
one girl
hard.
that's like a DJ, and they literally said it wasn't a solid job her being a DJ, and like the dad has custody, and the dad abused her.
Mm. Wait,
Yeah.
abused the
My
woman or
friend
the
the woman that's a DJ, and he
wow.
still got full custody of the kid.
Oh, and they knew in court that he abused her. Or
They
did they
knew, of
not?
course, she tried to bring pictures and everything, but his family had money, and she was a
Oh
DJ,
my
and they didn't look at a
gosh.
DJ as a stable job.
That's so
And
crazy.
I'm like, that's ridiculous. They
That's
should look at it like a
awful.
stable job. They
Yeah.
don't look at
I
entertainment
mean,
like,
if
of
you're
course, this
making
is.
money, like
Yeah,
let it go, you know?
like it's
We're
just
making money, just
horrible.
let it go. That's so insane. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was really lucky because um I don't mean I don't know if it's luck, but part of the reason I left my ex-husband was because I he started to bring up having kids, and you know, I was on birth control, but like you never know. An accident could always happen. And we had just gotten the dog, and I started seeing how he was with the dog. And he was already bad with me, but like sometimes when it happens to you, you're just kind of used to it. You don't really think anything of it. You're just like, whatever. But when you see it happen to me, if you see
Oh,
it
he
happening
abused
to
the
your
dog?
um he he didn't, but there were like a couple moments where it was like, what are you doing? Like he screamed in her face for no reason. Screamed in her face. One time, like she was in his way, so he tried to pick her up and throw her. And that I was like, and he was already an ex-felon, so he already had a record, you know, and had already done stuff to people in the past, you know.
But
So
I feel like it's okay because he's a man, you know? It's like, that's how they look at it. Like, the church didn't look at him, like, you know what I mean?
yeah, and I, like, don't get me wrong, I'm a big believer of second chances, and like, so when I, you know, we were in high school together when everything happened, so I was like very understanding until like I was living with him.
Was his mom that, like, my son can't do anything wrong?
No, his mom, because I wasn't close to my family, and like my mom's Christian to the core, and like divorce is like you don't get divorced, you know? And I wasn't close to them at the time, so I wasn't like confiding in them what was going on.
Unless your son's marrying, you know, a glorified whatever, then you get divorced. Because
Yeah, exactly. Like if I fucked up, then it's like, oh, well, now you have to get divorced or whatever. But with it was his mom who actually called me and was like, if you can't stand up to him now, you have to get out. Like get out now before it gets any worse. That woman saved my life. So to this day, so grateful to her. Like I'm so appreciative of her because she was because my dad was also really intense with me. He never like physically abused me, but it was like very psychologically abusive. But it's also just part of the Chinese culture too. So it's like he didn't really know any different because he didn't move to America till he was 27. So it's just what they do, you know? But I was just so used to this mentality of like women serve the man. And, you know, my mom is Christian. So it's like women serve the man, honor your mother and father. Like your whole life is in like service to the man. Whatever the
Mhm.
man wants, you do. So that was what I was raised with.
I feel like that's I feel like any anything that's not like American culture, like, as I say, I feel like those cultures, like Asian,
Yeah.
European, you know, Middle Eastern, they all believe that.
It's really
Because
intense.
my mom's parents came from, like, you know, Europe, so they
Okay.
believed, you know,
Oh,
basically,
really?
you
Okay.
know, my
Yeah, my
grandma,
mom's side is
yeah,
European also.
yeah.
So
So I think it's like the culture difference and stuff because they believe like
definitely.
the woman, they're still backwards to where the
Yeah.
man takes care of the
We're
woman doesn't do
property.
anything. Yeah.
Which and I think that's why there's such a conflict in society for women to be making money. And I think that's why they keep trying to push us down because for so long we were property. And
Hmm.
now it's like we're the AI coming up with our own consciousness, you know?
Yeah, and the men are like filtered like that way and stuff, you
Yeah.
know.
It's so true. So, you know, I was so thankful to get away. And so I'm really thankful. There's been so many times I've looked at my dog and I'm like, I'm so happy you weren't a kid. Because even raising her, I don't know if you've seen her. We just went to the vet. She's 120 pounds right now. And I'm
What kind of
100.
dog is
She's a
she?
mastiff. So she's bigger than me.
Oh my god, I know I'm 100 pounds too, so
Yeah.
I'm like, bruh,
She's huge.
she would take me down.
Yeah, girl. She has to. We'll be on walks, and she has taken me down before, and it's like, but she's a sweet girl, but it's a lot. But you know, when I was raising her, there were times she had behavior issues, and there were times when people would ask me like, "Is she a rescue?" And I have to be like, "No, we just had a really traumatic past," because like how he was didn't just affect me; it affected her too, and I could
Hmm.
see like if she had been a human, I can't even imagine, you know.
No, that's horrible.
It's really sad. It's really sad to think about. And that was a big reason why I got out because I was like, if we like, you know, I never thought I would talk about this in public, but I think it's important to say like another issue we had was like I wasn't allowed to not have sex with him. You know, it whenever he wanted it, I had to do it, whether I was in the mood or not. And if I wasn't, he'd throw a whole fit. And throughout our marriage, he became like increasingly more violent, you know? Like, first it was a temper tantrum. Then it was like he's punching walls. Then it's like, you know, he's threatening to slap me. And so, like, I had to always have sex with him. So there's this real fear of mine of like, if we have a kid, And not only that, through our marriage, we found out he was a narcissist, had ADHD, and was bipolar. And I was like, if I procreate with this man,
You could have a kid like that.
exactly. And even listening, like, I reached a point because I loved him for a long time. And I reached a point where I was like, it's almost like, I hate to say this, but it's almost not even his fault because he was trying so hard to be a good person, but he just didn't, like, there were just pieces in his brain that were missing, like the piece of empathy. He just didn't really have that, you
Yeah, from
know?
trauma and stuff like that, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Like I do wonder, like, maybe something happened to him as a kid that he never. I don't even think it would be he didn't tell me about. He could have just blocked out, you know. Um, but then too, I met his dad's side of the family, and there were things there too, and it was like there's clearly some kind of genetic thing getting passed down, and so there's just this fear of like creating a kid that would have these same problems, and then giving them a dad also who's not afraid to scream at a puppy's face. So it's like, who knows, like, and he's already showing signs of violence, and he had already gone to prison for being
That's
violent.
insane.
Yeah, it was scary and it was sad. So I forgot where I was going with this. Um, but I think it just,
And he didn't even want to get help for his mental health.
the sad thing is, and this has taken me a long time. I've had to do a lot of therapy, honestly, to get to this point of admitting this. Um, he was trying. He was in therapy. He was trying to figure out the meds and everything. Um, and it's taken me a long time to realize, but like I do believe he really loved me and he really tried. Um, if you're watching this, don't drop a comment and don't try to message me. he's I always kind of have to watch my back because I'm always a little bit nervous because he always finds me like online somewhere. But I do think that he tried. I just genuinely believe he wasn't capable. And that was the big reason why I left, because I was like, I don't think the meds or the doctors, maybe you'll figure this out one day. I can't wait.
He has to move past his trauma. So the thing, if it's a trauma thing, he has to move past it. So I have like PTSD and like
Same.
because I was like abused and it's like a trauma response
Mm,
that I have basically. And for the longest time, I dealt with my mother who was trying to say I was crazy, I was bipolar, was this and that, because she dealt with like my dad who was like schizophrenic or whatever.
oh, wow.
So, basically because we would get into fights and stuff like towards like my teenage years and stuff, because my mom would say like nasty things. And I realized like, my sister died. My one sister told me something. She's like, before Sierra died, Sierra said, it's not her. She's just, mom can be harsh sometimes or whatever, and that like really didn't. And for a while, though I believed it, like I was crazy, this and that. And I did like a 30-day thing in Mexico, like mental health, because it's like cheaper in
Wow.
Mexico because the US needs to take care of our health insurance,
For
but they don't.
real. Yeah.
So I did a 30-day thing in Mexico and I was like, crazy, this and that. And like the forensic psychologist is like, no, you're not a nurse because you have empathy. No, you're not borderline personality because your mom says because you wouldn't be able to keep a job, you wouldn't be able to do certain things. It's like you just have PTSD, you have trauma and stuff. You have to like face it. So
Yeah.
they put
Yeah.
me through. They did my diagnosis. They put me through all these therapies and stuff like that.
Wow.
You know,
That's awesome. Yeah. No, that's so
and
great.
basically, like my family like disowned me when I came and was like, listen, I actually did this 30-day promo stuff and that. They basically had the nerve to tell me, oh, it was some spa thing in Mexico. I was like, no, it was an actual retreat. These are licensed people,
Yeah.
And like basically the retreat it helped me so much because it basically we did this thing because everyone wears like a mask and we did this therapy session where I had to like unlock the mask and basically like relive everything to make
Oh,
it better.
shit. Yeah.
And I did hypnosis and everything. And now like I just eat healthy. I don't drink. I mean,
Mm.
I like weed, I like shrooms, but natural, organic.
Yeah.
But
I
like,
feel ya.
but actually I learned from like my psychologist that I'm now that actually my psychologist that I have now, not forensic, I shouldn't say that's required. Um, I learned basically from my psychologist that I've now like streams are actually good for you.
I could see that for sure.
Yeah, they're actually good for you and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I had just like so much like stuff that happened to me that I didn't like. I would bottle it up. I would bottle up, and I just didn't
Yeah.
face it. And I was just like angry all the time because I didn't face it. And like once I got past that, it was like
Mm,
it felt better. Like it was like a door like opening up and stuff like that.
mm,
Like so that's why I like acting because it kind of just takes me away and like
that makes a lot of sense.
because it's like a door opening up and it
Yeah,
opens up and it helps you
totally.
like it helps me
Process.
basically and
Yeah.
the stuff I've been through, it's like insane.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
like
I
it
basically I was
for
with an
sure.
abusive ex after my baby day. Like my baby day, like, unfortunately was a user. He got into a bad accident
Oh no.
and he has a brain injury, and that's why his family like didn't like me because they thought I caused the accident, which I would never do that to somebody because I
Mm.
sold him the car. He got in an accident because I helped him out.
Oh no. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So he had a bad accident. I wasn't in a good place, and I got with this guy who also wasn't in a good place,
Mm.
and he had issues. And I was like, but I was like stable. I was like on medicine and stuff like that. Like I was like, and he had issues, and he brought me down even lower to a dark place.
Mm.
And sometimes you have to get out of that. I feel like because you can't have another person that brings you down.
Yeah, yeah.
And unfortunately, like our relationship didn't end in like good terms. Like I was in a situation where I had to fight for my life to
Mm.
like help me and my son.
Mm.
And later that bit me in the butt. But like I basically won everything. Like I was scared. Like I realized that life was too short. When I think you're going up against somebody,
Yeah,
you realize
yeah.
life is too short because I was I was scared, basically because I had to stand my ground. And I won justice hit. Like I won everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And unfortunately, like he continued to abuse his next partners after me, and to the point where but recently, like he had a life-changing thing that happened. Like he abused the wrong person,
Oh.
and he almost lost his life. And this guy had abused me all my life and stuff. And or well, not all my life, but like for the year that we dated, the
Mm.
8 months. um and basically I was like, I know, I had to defend myself, and I had to mess him up to get out of the situation.
Wow.
Basically mess him up to get out of the situation. But
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, and I know we've had a bad past, but I told like his cousin, I was like, I just hope he's all right, and I hope he's like changed his ways.
Mm.
And she's like, he's doing better. He has a better outlook on life. So I'm glad he's doing better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I don't want him hitting me up
Yeah, yeah,
either.
exactly. Don't contact us.
Yes, but like sometimes they're not going to unless they hit rock bottom.
Yeah,
Like they
yeah.
have to hit rock bottom,
It's
and when you
so
hit rock
true.
bottom, that's when
Yeah,
and he has to face his trauma if it
yeah,
is a trauma. Then you have
definitely.
to face it.
This was a big thing that I actually learned, I think kind of like indirectly from my mother-in-law. Um, and I'm gonna say this really like gently and carefully.
Okay.
um, but and it's not the same for all situations because men are usually more powerful and more scary, and there's some situations where you cannot do anything,
Yeah,
period.
exactly.
And I think that's just it. Men don't understand how scary it is for women because we are made softer, we're made weaker, we're tinier, like we just are. And so, in one sense, um I learned that in a sense, there's also like a responsibility of the victim. It's not always just the abuser's fault. The victim can't be the enabler. And I realized, like with my ex-husband, I was like allowing him to have tantrums. Like he shouldn't be having tantrums. He's not 4, but I was allowing him to, you know, like run over me. I was allowing him to like,
That
you
eventually
know.
you're gonna break, and then it's
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
not end up in your favor.
Yeah, and you have to stand strong as a woman. And that's why now, like in dating, it's like, Yeah, I'm still a pretty patient person if I like you a lot. But I will call you out. I will tell you, stop. I will tell you, like, even with little things, you
And that
know?
goes back to women not supporting other women too. That's another thing. They
Yeah,
enable stuff and they don't support other women. And they're
exactly.
like looking like, oh, this guy, is
Yeah.
Prince Charming and stuff, and she's the bad.
Mm-mm.
And like they don't support other women.
It's we
And
have
it's
so much to
so
fight already.
sad. And
Yeah.
that's what's sad is like, men for one won't live a day to see like a woman president. They would not they do not want a woman president.
Mm,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
but women also don't want a woman president, I feel
Yeah,
like, because they're
that's
hating.
true.
And
It's so
it's so
true.
sad.
It's
Because I'm like, if
crazy.
women actually appreciate other women, then guess what? We'd have a woman president.
Yeah,
We'd have this. We could change things. Like if we
yeah.
stood together, like we could change a lot of stuff. But like
It's so
it goes
true.
back to women not supporting other women
Yeah,
too.
definitely.
And it's messed up because it's
It's
like I want
crazy.
my friends to do the best,
We're
you
pushing
know?
ourselves. Yeah, it's like when I started burlesque. Well, eventually I did hear things from men too from the church, but the first people I got nasty message
Are the
from were
women.
the women.
And they're the ones that are supposed to like,
Yes,
be there
it's
for you, be
true.
like the mothers, and they're older
Yeah.
ladies, like shame on
Yes,
them.
they were old enough to be my mom, and it's
Yeah, are
like
you gonna bash your daughter like that?
it's
But you're gonna bash like,
crazy.
when
Yeah,
I see that, I think of them bashing like it's the same as they if I walked up to a 5-year-old little girl and
exactly.
said stuff to
It's
her.
so true.
Like I have 13-year-old girls, like 13, as young as
Mm.
13, that watch like my Instagram page and my TikTok page, like little 13-year-old girls, and I would never think to say that kind of stuff to them.
Exactly. It's so true. It's so sad, and it just doesn't make sense. And that's why like I feel like being a pretty woman too, you have other women who are jealous, insecure, I don't know, but putting you down too. I feel like I've almost heard the more nasty things from women than men. And it's just like we already have to fight so hard, you know?
No, it's
It's
horrible.
insane. So, but, that to say like but that's just it. That's why we need support, especially when we're in abusive situations. We need support. We need help from other women to like help us. And that's why I'm so grateful to my mother-in-law because she was the one who helped me out. She was the only one who like really woke me up and helped me get out of there. And well, my dad actually ended up helping me too, but that's another story. So it's just crazy. And I think like going back, it's like, I think as women, we have to stand up for ourselves, but it is really hard because I recently posted a reel from a podcast saying how, like, women or how powerful men in Hollywood still will try to get like sexual favors from young girls or young boys who are trying to make it. And the comments I got, all from men, all of them were like, oh, somehow it's not her fault, or well, if you didn't want the job that bad, you shouldn't have done it, things like that. And I was just like,
That's so sad.
how are, like, one, they're basically saying it's okay to rape. And two, how are you blaming this on the woman? And it's just
That is
crazy to me. It's
horrible.
insane. And that was the only comments, all men, all in that line. And it's just like, again, going back to, I don't think men realize we're smaller. We're built smaller. Um, the only time I think I was really like kind of like assaulted, I guess, was I had met this guy in my community. So he knew all my friends. So he was introduced to me by a friend. And, he offered to go get dinner after we were all hanging out. And I was like, yeah, sure. So we were going to go get dinner. And, it's a community. A lot of us go get dinner all the time together. So we start walking, and he's like, actually, my apartment's right here. Like, do you just want to come over and I'll cook? And again, my guard's down because he was introduced to me by my friends. And it's common for us to go to each other's houses and have dinner together. So it's like, yeah, sure. Go up to his apartment. He starts cooking. Before I know it, like I had my back turned and he came up, went after me, I guess for lack of better words. And I was like, whoa, that happened really fast. Just like kind of like shoved his tongue in my mouth. And then I kind of let it go and was like,
And
okay,
he was a
well,
burlesque
whatever.
dancer?
No, he
Promoter?
did like calisthenics. So it was
Okay.
like in my acro community,
Oh, okay.
like at the beach, like outdoors fitness vibe.
Okay.
So he's really fit and Israeli. Really strong guy, right? So then I'm ready to leave, and he's not letting me leave. So now I'm starting to make excuses. I'm like, well, I have to go walk my dog. And he's like, well, like, I'm like, I'll go walk my dog and come back. Because at this point, I'm just trying to get away,
Yeah, like that's like horrible.
Yeah.
Like,
Which, if I want to leave, I should just be allowed to leave. And he's like, well, if you go walk your dog, you're not going to come back. So he's like, I'll follow you home and then make sure you come back. And now I'm freaking out because I'm like, I don't know this guy. Like, I don't want him to know where I live. And I'm not like a speed racer. I can't like drive and try to lose him. Like, I'll crash. So now I'm getting freaked out. So eventually I give up and I decide to stay there. And then before you know it, we're about to have sex. And I'm like, I thought you said we weren't going to have sex. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, no, we are. And so so I'm just like, well, what do I do? This guy is huge and he's strong and he's on top. And at one point, I remember he even grabs me really tight just to like show me that I couldn't get away. And it was so scary.
that's horrible.
So I couldn't leave till the next morning. I came back home and I cried.
So he basically raped you.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's horrible.
And it's like, and I think men don't realize, and that's why, like, when girls say no, it's no. It doesn't mean she's fighting and kicking and screaming. If she says, I don't want to, that's a no. And it's like, it's just so sad that I think in our culture, this is still such a thing.
no, and they still do it.
They
It's horrible.
still do it. And it's okay. And especially, like, again, not bringing politics into this, but we were so close to having a woman president. And now we have a male president. And like, I'm not gonna lie, like I lived in Florida for a while. There's some Republican
crazy
things
cat
that I
women.
like. Yeah.
We're crazy cat women. I do have a cat, by the way. Just so you know, Mr. Vance over there.
This episode's gonna get so much heat
I
for
do
sure.
have a cat. I am a crazy cat woman.
Oh my
Just
god.
so you know, I'm coming at you. I'm a crazy cat woman over
She's
here.
talking straight to you.
Straight to you, JD Vance.
Oh my god.
You know, I think you're just mad because your mom abused you when you were younger.
Probably.
That is true. If you watch Hillbilly Energy, like I think he's got a little back,
Seriously.
you know.
It's these men, maybe they were treated bad by women or something and they just hate women. Maybe they were ugly as a kid. I was ugly as a kid. I still love
It's a
men.
known
Like,
fact that his mom was a
oh,
but his
okay, well,
grandma's
there you
the
go.
one that raised him and like helped him and stuff like
Oh,
that.
I
If it
see.
wasn't for his like grandma and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so.
Which I watched
it's
the
so
movie and I can
sad.
admit I was like for with the movie
Mm.
until like he said crazy Catwoman, all this stuff he said. I was like, crazy Catwoman. I'm a cat owner.
Oh my gosh, I'm dead. Oh, it's
Like,
crazy.
I'm a crazy Catwoman.
Yeah.
Unmarried crazy Catwoman too. You know, and basically if you're not married by this age, like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
All of these like rules men have for women also. You can't be sexual, you have to be married by a certain age or you're not attractive. Like, it's just wild. It's so wild. And it's so
No.
sad
I
too.
know, like they teach, like what about like these guys where they coach these guys, right?
Yes.
The Andrew Tate red pill theory guys.
Yes.
So when I met her, I was with the red pill theory guy.
Get out!
Remember?
I didn't know he was red pill.
He's red pill theory guy. He
That
like,
makes sense,
teaches classes.
actually.
Yeah, I know. You saw how he treated me and stuff.
Yeah,
I
I so see that.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my
he was red pill
God.
theory. It was funny because even one of the photographers said something. I'm not gonna say, but he was like, I didn't like his attitude towards you or whatever. I was like,
Well, you know, I did notice when I met you at the shoot, your energy was so much different than when I met you later.
yeah,
Like, you could tell you weren't in a space where you could be yourself. Like,
no, I wasn't.
you could feel him like suppressing you. It was crazy.
Yeah, like basically, like you know, their theory on the whole thing is like men can sleep with whoever they want, but they still love you and they can be polygamous. And basically, the man basically makes all the decisions for the woman.
Fuck that.
And basically, the more girls you have around you, the more events you throw, the more you're gonna get with men with higher power. And basically, you know, they have like this whole like, you know,
So
theory
dumb.
going and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I don't think it's necessarily true. And then one of their biggest theories is, after 25, a woman is not married and everything. They have issues and emotional
Crazy.
baggage, and a woman's not as attractive and stuff. And
Well,
it's
we
crazy.
were already married, so
Yeah, we were already married.
yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you
Yeah.
can't preach that.
No, it's ridiculous. It's like, and what were we supposed to do? Stay with our abusive ex-husbands? Like, that doesn't make any sense, It's
No, it's
crazy.
ridiculous. And that's what, is preached and stuff in the men.
Yeah.
I'm like, we have to make better men. We have to make better men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And like, sorry, I've lost the most of weight off. My clothes don't fit me anymore. I've literally been working out. When you met me too, I was depressed. I was eating all the time. I basically have been working out. I've been healthier.
Yeah, you look great.
I've been healthier and stuff, so it's been better.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But I was very suppressed and stuff because we have women and these men teaching these men things and these women not supporting. And it's sad.
It's insane.
Especially in the
It's
modeling
so
industry, there's
crazy.
so much cattiness and
So much.
it's so stupid.
You have to
Everyone's
watch your back.
you have to watch your back, and I'm
what
like,
is that?
yeah, I'm like,
we
it's
already
so
deal with
stupid.
so much. I actually went. Do you know the Fresh and Fit podcast?
Yes, they wanted me on their podcast, and I wouldn't do it.
Really? See, I didn't know anything about them, so I went on it,
Mhm.
which I had a fine time because, again, I had no idea, so I just debated them,
Mhm.
and they kept trying to catch me, and I was like, no, I like traditional women.
I like that. I like that. They want to debate me. I might actually debate you guys.
Honestly, you should go on there because
Yeah.
I could also tell all the girls were so young. I was like, well, of course you're gonna make girls half your age look dumb. They don't, but I look young, but I'm not as young as I look.
I know.
So,
same with me.
yeah, exactly.
How old are you? We'll say with camera.
Nice. We're the same.
We're the same age.
Yeah,
it makes sense. It makes sense.
So funny.
But in the entertainment industry, everyone lies about their age. So
true. Yeah.
Everyone is
That's
10
so
years
funny.
younger.
Yeah. Which is great. It's great we look young, but it's also great that we're not young because, I love being this age because it's I'm wiser. I have my money. I don't need a man. I want a man who treats me well.
And you know what to do with your money when you make your money.
Exactly.
More money, you
so
know how
true.
to invest it and how to
not just spend it.
Yeah.
Which I made that mistake when I was young.
Because they want these designer things.
Yeah, and then you're like, why did I do that?
I used to, before driving to Mexico, I was like, I don't
Mhm.
care. Why do you need 20 Chanels? You only need one.
Yeah,
You only need one.
exactly.
You don't need 20. You don't need one.
Save your money.
Save your money.
Yeah, I've become so frugal now. And
I am so frugal
penny
too.
pinching. Yeah.
Why you need to go somewhere crazy?
Exactly. Well, and that's the big thing too. Is I feel like the access women have to financial education is not as much as men.
They don't. And when you try to ask a man to teach you about trading, I tried to ask Max, because he was a day trader, to teach me about day trading. And you know what he told me?
Oh, no,
He's
what?
like, women can't day trade because they're too emotional.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
out.
We know what party he supported, but yeah.
Okay. Jesus. That's
But yeah, we
crazy.
know what party he supported. But
Oh
yeah,
my God.
he literally said, women cannot day trade because they're too emotional.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. Well, yeah, I was saying well, I'm really lucky. A lot of my guy friends have they'll teach me different things with stocks and trading and all of that. But with my dad, I know he talks money with my brother. And I asked him once, I was like, hey, can you give me some tips? Give me some advice? And he was like, you don't need to worry about it. And I was like, well, I pay my own bills, period. I don't have a husband. I don't have a sugar daddy. I don't have anybody. My dad, you are not paying I pay my own bills. So I think I do need to worry about it. What do you mean I don't need to worry about it?
Why can't you teach us financials?
Yeah,
You're very fortunate to have those in your life. I'm trying to learn financials.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I mean, they're kind of still learning, so I'm letting them figure out the kinks first.
And then they're gonna teach you.
Yeah, exactly. But they've always given me tips, and they've always let me know hey, this has worked, this hasn't. Because I'm lucky with some really good guy friends, and which is really, really hard to come by as a pretty girl. Majority of the time, I don't have guy friends, but
I feel
there's
like
a
guys
couple.
in LA are different than like the guys anywhere else. Like
You can, yeah,
you can be friends with them
it's very
versus like
rare. I think too, like, I would say right now, I probably only really have 2 really close guy friends, but they both live in Miami, which I
mhm.
think that kind of plays a factor too. Like, if you're not hanging out with like a guy every day, I believe like I don't really believe you can be best friends with a guy.
Yeah,
Not if you're
exactly,
hanging out with them
exactly.
all the
You
time.
know?
There, someone is always going to catch feelings. Period.
Yeah.
But I think the only reason these friendships work is because they're on the other side of the country, so I only see them from time to time. But I'm really lucky though, because they will pass on things to me, and because I don't get that, I was never taught any of this when I was a kid. Um, so I'm really lucky that they'll help me out.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, but I think that's a big reason too why it's important that as women we like we get these conversations going too. Like I know I brought one of my aerialist friends on, and she has learned a lot about like having a high yield savings account, having a Roth IRA, and she came on the episode and actually did a full like mini lesson for 10 minutes of all the different accounts she has.
I'm gonna have to watch that
You
episode. I
should.
know, because
You
that's one of my
should.
accounts that he said I have to have different. You have to have more than one bank account, like multiple accounts.
Yes, yeah.
And he was telling you your high risk bank account. You need this. You need that. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, and she broke it down so well too. Like even though I have guy friends who will give me tips, she really broke down, and she doesn't. The thing I've noticed about the friend group I have now is that they're not making like crazy money and they live super frugal. But all of them have like money saved up. Like they have like 100 grand in their account or whatever, just like saved because they were good with their money. Whereas I've met men who make like 300,000 in a year, and the next year they're broke because they spent it all. You know.
Mhm.
So like my a big reason I wanted to start this too is to kind of bring more financial education to women. Not like this isn't like a full lesson, but just like tips and tricks that we all learn. Because if the men aren't going to teach us, we have to learn, you know? And if they don't want to help us because they're too scared of us, we have to learn.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's ridiculous.
Especially if they're going to go around calling us like, what was it, like glorified whore. So we're unmarriable because we're soiled or damaged goods or whatever. Then we have to learn because who's going to take care of us? Like we have to be prepared to take care of ourselves or our kids, our dependents, our animals. Like it's just, it's so sad.
It is
So
sad. Like, I want to learn day trade, and like it's so hard to find people that will like
it's
teach you
really
and
hard.
sit down.
It's really hard. Yeah.
There was this one guy in LA, and he sat down and he taught me
That's
about
really
crypto.
nice.
So like I just started like
And they're out
learning.
there.
Like he was very sweet about it. Like he
Yeah.
sat down and taught me and gave me like a one-on-one lesson. And he
That's
was
good.
very. He's a very like nice person.
That's so, see, and that's too like another reason I wanted to start this is because there are really good men out there still. They're out there, and I think it's just important to really like cultivate that and lift that up and shine light and like help men. I think some really good men feel like if they're a simp or if they're not an asshole, I think that's why they get attracted to this red pill theory, is because they think, oh, I need to be this macho money making man that's like a dick to women and has 10 girls because that's going to get me love, attention, power. I don't
I
know.
say put Nair in their like shampoo. If they want to act like Andrew Tate, they can look like Andrew Tate.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
put Nair in the shampoo then.
It's so crazy. Like, but to me, and that's why I wanted to start this from these women that men dream about being, these women that are in Playboy and Maxim, these women who are on stage, these like badass women coming on here and saying like we don't want like someone to bow down and worship us. We don't want this guy with all this money. Like I don't think any girl I know who's like a real badass doesn't give a shit how much a man makes. She cares that you're not broke and that you're passionate about something and that you're working on something
Exactly.
good and that you let her flourish too. That's I've never heard anything different from all the women I know who are like really incredible women and really beautiful and really loyal. That's all that they want. Not like a Ferrari and like $1 billion man that just hands her a credit card. In fact, the majority of us, I think, yeah, we like being taken on nice dates, but we don't necessarily want you taking care of everything. Like, I know I don't want a man paying my bills because to me, that's like giving up control and that actually scares me. Take me to a nice dinner. I love that. But don't pay my bills
No,
because that
exactly.
freaks me out, you know? And sometimes I want to take you to a nice dinner also. Like, you know, but yeah, I wanted to start this so that men realize like we just want you to be a good person. That's it. That's all you have to do. Be a good person. Be nice. And that's not being a simp. We don't want to walk all over you. We don't
No, we
want you to worship
don't.
us. We want you to be a man and take the lead. But like, we also don't want you to be an asshole. That's not attractive. That's disgusting. I was gonna say I actually went on a date with one of the guys who was on Fresh and Fit. I'm not gonna say who, but it was after the episode. It was one that was on as a guest, and I went out with him. And again, like because they didn't make me look stupid, I still didn't know what this whole red pill was. I didn't know that they were trying to make girls look stupid. I
And
just
how was
debated
that
with
for
them.
you? He ordered your food and everything?
We went to Starbucks and like the whole time he didn't ask me a single question about myself. And anytime I asked him a question about himself, nothing. Like it was the most surface level basic shit of my life and I was so mind-numbingly bored. And if I said his name, guarantee every man watching this would know exactly who he is because he's very like respected among men. And he is just when it comes to dating, I was like I like wanted to shoot myself. And then after the date, he was like, "What are you doing the rest of the day?" I was like, "I have a show." And he was like, "Well, you can come over after." And I was like, "Oh, because you got me a Starbucks coffee? Like, what are you I'm sorry. Why? Why would I want to come over after? Absolutely not. I was just like eventually I texted him. I was like, I'm just not interested in you. Stop texting me. Because like and like this is a guy who's known to have like a lot of game. And I was like, okay, he clearly dates like 21-year-old girls that don't know anything.
No, exactly. I'm fine with him posting with other girls, like partying and stuff. Like
Yeah.
that's embarrassing to us.
It's so embarrassing. It's
Like we
like,
don't
are you
want
kidding me?
that. You know
It's
what I mean?
crazy. Yeah.
And that's another thing too. Like like I'm not gonna say names or like that. Like the girls are at fault too. Like the
Yeah,
girls like
yeah.
do like stupid stuff.
It's
Because
true.
guys are sometimes clueless, but like the girls that do like stupid stuff. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like are
definitely.
like manipulative and stuff. Like if you
Yeah.
know a guy has a girlfriend, why are you like trying to get
It's
like
so
like the
true.
crazy ex-girlfriends and stuff like that will
Yeah.
hit them up and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
there's this girl, she was like, I think she was like jealous of me or something. She was some musician, so as we
Oh.
started dating,
Mhm.
I got back with my boyfriend because we were together for like, on and off for like 14 years. Like I would always come back to him.
Oh, wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, he's known me since I was like 16.
Oh, wow.
So like basically like she hit him up to come do his show or whatever, and he'd broken up with her. He thought like, oh, we can be like friends or whatever.
Mm,
And because the entertainment industry is a little different, stuff like that. And he doesn't talk to like any of his exes. So he went to her show, and then like he like left her show. Like I saw the text messages he showed me,
okay.
but like he went to her show, and then um he like basically got weed from her, like thought he could be friends and stuff. Well, she goes
Mm,
and hangs out with his friends.
okay.
And when I'm in town, and he's like, I don't want to deal with her, like, this and that. And I see the text messages, so I was like, oh, so it wasn't anything big, but I was like upset, because I'm like, why didn't you tell me? He's like, well, I just like met up with her for like 4 minutes, like, we didn't do
Mm,
anything. I was like, yeah, but she's trying to invite you over her house, like, because guys don't see that too, some guys don't
true,
see that.
true.
And I was like, she's trying to invite you over her house and this and that. I was like, she obviously can't get over the fact that you broke up with her. You don't understand that. Like, you may be done with her because when guys are done, like I know they're done and
Yeah.
they break up with someone because I have guy friends,
Mhm.
you may be done with her, but she's not done with you because girls have like an ego thing. She
Yeah,
doesn't like the fact that you broke up with her. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like when I'm done with a guy, I'm done with the guy. But like
for sure.
exes can't be friends because it's always the one that got broken
Yeah,
up with.
yeah,
That's the one that's gonna like want them back.
yeah,
You
for
know what I
sure.
mean? And I'm like, it's an ego thing. Like
Yeah,
she's hitting up now because you have a girlfriend, this and that.
yeah,
So he
definitely.
blocked her and everything,
Yeah,
basically
that's
cut her off
good.
because he was like,
That's
he did the right thing. Because he was
yeah,
like, she's she's like, because he saw what she was trying to do, because she like tried to upset me. She texted, she's like, "It's okay. I know you have a girlfriend, boo, or whatever." And I'm like, that's so
That
disrespectful.
is, yeah.
I was like, as another woman,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, you are so disrespectful,
It's
And I'm
true.
like, it's horrible,
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. It's not like, and that's the big thing too. It's not like men are the only ones fault. It's actually become a very vicious cycle where men are dogs and then women can be worse.
Yeah, but women they don't care. Like they
They
want to try
don't
to be a
care.
homewrecker, and it sucks.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like, why do you want to break up someone else's like
yeah.
relationship? Like why, like,
It's so, I
if
mean,
someone breaks up with me, I'm sorry. I'm done. I don't want that
yeah.
person
Yeah, I'm
in
like,
my life.
you left me. Well, then good luck.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not gonna fight for
no,
somebody's
hell no.
attention. That's bad for
No.
your mental health,
Yeah, exactly. I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like even like dating women dating in Miami, I'm just like I actually feel really bad for the men there. And I'm like, because some women are gold diggers. So, and I get like protecting yourself also as men, but that doesn't mean you have to become like a dog and start being like rude because not all women are like that. Just like not all men are dogs, you know?
Yeah, not all women are gonna screw you over.
Exactly, exactly. It's just judgment of character.
Yeah, it's a
That's
back and forth.
it. Yeah. Okay, let's open it up because I feel like there's
Questions?
some good.
Yeah. So a question I had, as you were mentioning at one point, being involved with a guy who himself wasn't in the best place, and you also knew you weren't in the best place. Is there ever a time where you're like dealing with a guy and you feel like you almost kind of are attached to this kind of like dream of he's not in a good place, I'm not in a good place, but we're gonna make it out together, and it's almost like this story arc that you have in your mind. Does that ever become like a big thing?
I think every girl has that in their mind, and at the end, you got to realize that if you guys aren't compatible, you just have to let it go.
I think that's a solid answer.
And that's the
Yeah.
thing, like, I struggled with, and I mainly struggled with working out because it was a guy that I wanted my family to like versus the guy that I actually like.
Oh yeah.
And
for
like, it's
sure.
just, it's compatibility. Like, if you're not compatible and you guys fight, then it's not good to be in that situation.
Yeah.
Have you noticed like with time it's gotten easier for you to tell what's for you and what's not?
It has. It actually has. The guy I'm with now, like we work, so it's easy now.
Good.
You have to find someone that I feel like matches your energy.
Yeah, I feel like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Seeing you when you were with your ex and seeing you now,
Yeah,
your
like match.
energy
Yeah,
is
you
so
just
much
gotta
different.
find someone that matches your energy, because it's a person you could potentially have kids with. If you guys don't have the
Yeah.
same beliefs,
Oh
then
my
it's
gosh.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you like flourish a lot more now, obviously. So I feel like if you guys had kids together, like they would flourish really well because you seem like, I mean, I don't know him, but since you see me, like you're in such a good place. He's
He's an
obviously
artist. He's a musician.
okay.
Yeah, he was
Okay,
actually, the
nice.
show Daisy of Love
No, I don't.
on VH1, like the date rock, like the dating shows we used to watch in like middle school or
Oh
whatever.
no, I was a sheltered kid.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we used to show. He was on the show
Oh my
Daisy of Love. So
gosh. Oh,
yeah,
how funny. Oh, that's
yeah.
fun.
I was a fangirl.
Oh my gosh.
Uh-huh.
That's so
I went through
cute.
my emo phase. I like my emo voice.
That's amazing.
Love you, babe.
I love it.
What's the next question you have for me?
Do you feel like over time there's been like with the whole Me Too and the Believe Women movement, do you think there's trends have changed as far as people taking women seriously when they're in situations where like there's maybe a family or just other powerful people with money or men with money, and you feel like the woman is like in a situation where she doesn't have the power in a sense. Do you think trends have changed as far as how much leverage she has?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Unfortunately, like money has been the root of all evil. And unfortunately, like, women don't get taken seriously a lot. And a lot of it is unfortunately because some people do lie about situations. So
Yeah, which is really sad.
it's sad.
Do you feel like things have been moving in a positive direction or
I feel like everything's moving positive. Like I feel like now I'm where I'm supposed to be. Like I finally came into realization of myself. And for so long I struggled wanting to impress my family, wanting to do this, wanting to do that. And life's too short and you have to sometimes chase your dreams and go for it.
Mm, I feel that.
How would you have you ever lived in LA? Ever?
During COVID,
Okay.
pre-COVID, I lived in LA.
What's the difference between, because I grew up in Las Vegas, but I've never been involved in any entertainment. So I've been in LA since I was like 20. But is there a difference between just the culture in Vegas compared to LA as far as entertainment, just how not like people's expectations, but also just work ethic or how quickly things move?
I think it's like an equal work ethic, but I think people in LA are more friendlier and more motivated to work together versus like people in Vegas.
I see that. Yeah.
I have an acting question. So, do you ever watch movies or films or TV now and think to yourself, you can well, first of all, who inspired you to go? Were there any actresses or actors that inspired you, that still inspire you?
Um, I grew up watching like Tim Burton movies, so I always loved like Johnny Depp, and
Mhm.
I loved Angelina Jolie. She was my favorite, but Marilyn and Audrey Hepburn and the old like actors like Jane Mansfield, like those were the ones that inspired me. Like I've always been a fan of the older movies.
Did you see that movie Nosferatu?
Yes.
So some people, I really liked it, but I noticed a lot of like some men, or just like on the internet, some people hate Lily Rose's performance. They just didn't like it. I'm like, I thought it was good.
I thought she did a good
It was really
job.
polarizing. Do you ever get, as an actress, do you ever get triggered when people have a like bash a female performance, even though you know it's objectively good, just because they don't relate to it, or they just they rub the wrong way with some of that like feminine aspects, or
I say I want to see you try doing it, and then you get back to me. You tell me if you do it as good, because you're an expert on acting. That's what I tell people.
That's fair.
that's a good answer. Are you you is it easy for you to tell whether somebody like to you what is good acting if you're watching something?
Really, there's no good or bad acting. There's no bad actors. Like my school, their theme is like Dare to Suck, and there's no bad actors. Really, everyone puts their own special, um, as my coach would call it, sauce to it. Like everyone has their
Mm.
own special thing that sets them apart, and basically you find what that is to set you apart and you go with it. But I mean, it's a skill that can be learned too.
That's true. That's fair.
Do you think there were strengths that you had as a performer that you didn't have to work on as much that maybe compared to like other actresses that you like went to school with that like what were your strengths that you as a performer that you felt like you didn't have to work on as much? What were your weaknesses that you had to kind of chisel out to get where you're at now?
So now that I know the terminology at it, I found I was very good at sensory acting, which is basically you pull from like past experiences and imagine being in that moment to, like I said earlier, to get that character to come to life, like different emotions you pull with similar experiences. So I feel like I'm very strong at that. I feel like memorizing lines, I feel like that's every actor's and actress's worst fear. So that's kind of like, it's harder. But the way my coach put it is not to memorize the lines, but put in your perspective and remember it like a memory. And that has helped me a lot.
Yay. I think I'm going to cut it there just in case the mics die.
All right, that's
But
perfect.
that was solid. That was a lot of questions.